I never thought I'd feel this way about people I called my closest friends. We had shared everything: laughs, tears, late night talks about dreams and fears. I thought I belonged. But then, one message changed everything. It wasn't just any message. It was a group chat invite. Except, this time, my name wasn't on the list. They were planning a getaway we always talked about for months. The villa, the beach, the endless nights under the stars. But this time, the message buzzed on my phone with all their excited voices, except mine was missing. No, "Hey, are you coming?" No, "We want you here." Just silence. For a moment, I froze. My heart pounded like it was trying to tell me something I didn't want to hear. Had I done something wrong? Was I imagining it? Or worse, had they finally decided I wasn't worth their time anymore? I replayed our last conversations, our laughs, the plans we made. Nothing hinted at this betrayal. Nothing told me that behind my back they had quietly erased me from their lives. I couldn't believe it. Not them. Not my friends. The worst part? They didn't tell me. They didn't have the courage to look me in the eye and say it. They just left me out. Like I was invisible. I thought about confronting them. I thought about begging for answers. But the truth is, I didn't want to be the one asking. I wanted to be the one who didn't care. So I did something wild. I booked the villa myself. Alone. I paid for everything: the room, the food. The trip, they said, was too expensive. And as I stood there, watching the ocean waves crash beneath the balcony, I realized something important. This wasn't just about a trip. This was about me reclaiming my worth. Because sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you deepest. And sometimes you have to burn those bridges to build a stronger path ahead. For as long as I can remember, I've been the kind of person who believes in loyalty. Maybe it's because I grew up watching my parents fight and make up, holding on no matter what. Or maybe it's because I always thought that friends were forever no matter how hard things got. My name is Aisha, and for the last 7 years, my circle of friends was my world. We were inseparable, like a little family who shared secrets, dreams, and even heartbreaks. There was Zara, the wild one who always dared us to live a little Sami, the quiet listener who had a heart bigger than anyone I knew. And then, of course, Layla, my oldest friend. Layla and I met in college, sitting next to each other in that tiny cafe where we spent more time talking than studying. She knew me better than I knew myself, my fears, my hopes, and the wounds I never spoke about. Our friendship was the kind you see in movies: unbreakable, honest, and full of inside jokes that made us laugh until our sides hurt. We promised each other we'd always be there, through every heartbreak and success. When I got my first promotion at work, they were the first to celebrate. When Layla's relationship fell apart, I was the one who stayed up all night comforting her. But underneath that perfect friendship, there were cracks I never noticed. Maybe I was too busy being the glue that held us together. Or maybe I was just blind. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I've said things I regretted in the heat of the moment. But I always believed that honesty could fix anything. That if you told the truth, even the hardest one, people would understand. Except sometimes they don't. As much as I tried to hold on, things between us started to change: subtly texts that went unanswered, plans canceled at the last minute, and a strange feeling whenever I walked into a room where they were. I told myself it was nothing, that I was just being paranoid. But deep down, a small voice kept whispering, "Something's wrong." And I wasn't ready for what I was about to discover. Because the friends who promised forever, they had already started writing me out of their story. It started with a simple text notification, one I never thought would change everything. I was scrolling through my phone on a quiet evening when Zara's message popped up. At first, it seemed normal. A casual "Hey, are you free this weekend?" But as I opened the group chat, my stomach twisted into knots. There it was, the plan for the trip. A list of dates, the villa address, and excited emojis flying back and forth between Zara, Sami, and Layla. But no sign of me. I blinked, rereading the messages, hoping I'd made a mistake. Maybe I had missed an earlier text or a private message somewhere. But no, nothing. I felt a cold pit open inside me, spreading with every heartbeat. I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling. How long had this been going on? How many plans had they made, without even a hint to include me? The betrayal wasn't just in the messages. It was in the silence, the sudden absence of calls, the easy laughter I wasn't a part of anymore. I wanted to call them. To ask no, demand way, I was left out. But I didn't. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was shock. Or maybe I was scared of the answer. Instead, I sat there, staring at my phone, drowning in a sea of questions. Was I no longer enough for them? Had I done something wrong? Or was I just disposable? The next day, I tried to act normal. I met Layla for coffee, pretending I hadn't seen the chat. I smiled when she asked about the trip, swallowing the lump in my throat. "We're going to have so much fun," she said, eyes sparkling. But how could I smile back when I knew I wasn't invited? Later, I caught Sami at work. I wanted to confront him, to demand the truth. But he brushed me off with a quick, "It's just a small trip, nothing serious." His words felt like salt on a wound. That night, I lay awake, replaying every memory, every laugh we'd shared. I thought I knew them, all of them. But maybe I only knew the parts they wanted me to see. The next day, I noticed a subtle change in their behavior. A shared glance between Zara and Layla that stopped when I entered the room. Whispered conversations that ended abruptly when I approached. I tried to tell myself I was imagining it, that it was paranoia creeping in. But my gut told me otherwise. Something was happening behind my back. Something I wasn't supposed to find out. I wasn't just being left out of a trip. I was being pushed out of their lives. And the truth? The truth was more painful than I could have ever imagined. I couldn't get the image out of my head, the group chat, without me. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped, hoping it would be a message from one of them. But it never was. I kept replaying our last few weeks together. Had I missed the signs? Was I too blind to see how things were slipping away? One evening, I found myself standing outside Zara's apartment. My fingers trembled as I debated whether to knock. What would I say? Why did you leave me out? Would I get an answer, or just cold silence? My mind was a storm. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe it's just a stupid trip, nothing personal. But then, why hide it from me? I felt like a ghost present but unseen, a shadow in a room full of light. I called Layla, my voice cracking slightly as I tried to sound casual. "Hey, just wanted to check if you're free this weekend." There was a pause. Then she replied, "Sorry, Aisha, We're all going on that trip. It's kind of last minute." Her words hit me like a punch. Last minute? For a trip they planned for weeks without telling me? Why didn't you tell me? I whispered, more to myself than to her. I don't know. It just happened," she said, her voice distant. I wanted to scream at her, wanted to demand the truth. But instead, I said, "Okay, have fun." And I hung up. Sitting alone in my apartment, tears blurred my vision. The loneliness wasn't just about missing the trip. It was about the realization that the people I trusted the most were keeping secrets from me. Secrets that didn't include me. I found myself asking, did I ever really belong? Days passed in a haze of silence. When I met Sammy at the cafe, I tried to act normal, but inside, I was screaming. "Sami, can we talk?" I asked quietly. He avoided my eyes, fiddling with his coffee cup. "I think you're reading too much into this." "No," I said firmly. "I know something's wrong. Why are you pushing me away?" He sighed, finally meeting my gaze. "It's complicated, Aisha. Sometimes people grow apart. Is that what this is?" I asked, voice trembling. "Have you already given up on us?" He said nothing. The silence was louder than any answer. That night, I sat alone, heart aching, wondering if I should confront them all at once. Maybe demand the truth, no matter how painful. But fear held me back. What if I was the only one feeling betrayed? What if I was just imagining things? Yet, the whispers behind my back, the looks that stopped when I entered the room, the growing distance all screamed the opposite. I was losing them. And with every passing day, the weight of their silence crushed a little more of me. I thought I had hit rock bottom, thinking I was just being left out, pushed aside. But I was wrong. What came next ripped apart every piece of my heart I thought still held together. It happened on a random Thursday afternoon. I was walking past a cafe near Zara's place when I saw them, Zara, Layla, and Sammy, all together, laughing. Closer than I'd seen them in weeks. That in itself wasn't the shock. What froze me to the spot was who they were with. It was someone new. Someone I had never met. And not just any stranger. It was Ayant, the guy I had trusted to watch my back, the one I had confided in when the silence from my friends became unbearable. I blinked, unable to believe what I was seeing. They looked like a little secret club whispering, sharing inside jokes, touching each other like old friends. But the strangest part? Ion was smiling in a way I had never seen before. No, just friendly, but familiar. Too familiar. I felt like the ground shifted beneath me. How long had this been going on? Why was Ion hiding this from me? I followed them at a distance, heart pounding so loud I was sure they could hear it. They went into a small, dimly lit bar, one I'd never even heard of. I didn't want to spy. I didn't want to prove anything. But I had to know. Inside, I saw them again, Zara, Layla, Sami, and Ion talking in low voices, their faces lit by the flickering candlelight. There was laughter, but it felt different, secretive, exclusive. Suddenly, Layla's hand touched Ion's arm. A simple gesture, but it hit me like a slap. They were just friends. They were hiding something. Something I wasn't part of. That night, I lay awake, tears burning my cheeks. I realized this wasn't just about a trip anymore. It was about betrayal layered and deeper than I had imagined. Just when I thought I knew the truth, I discovered a secret that changed everything. Because it wasn't only about me being left out. It was about them forming a new bond without me, one I wasn't supposed to see. And Ayan, the person I trusted most, he was part of it. I felt more alone than ever. More lost. The people I called my friends were rewriting our story, and I wasn't invited to the next chapter. The day I decided to confront them was the hardest day of my life. I knew I couldn't keep pretending any more, couldn't keep hiding behind silence and questions that went unanswered. I needed to hear the truth, no matter how much it would hurt. I found Zara first, sitting in our favorite coffee shop, the place where we had once planned endless trips and dreams. She looked up when I walked in, surprise flickering in her eyes, quickly replaced by something colder. "Aisha," she said, voice calm but distant. "I didn't expect to see you here. Can we talk?" I asked, trying to steady my voice. She nodded, but didn't look me in the eye. I took a deep breath. "Why did you leave me out of the trip? Why didn't you tell me?" Zara's silence spoke volumes. Finally, she said, "It's not that simple." "Then make it simple. Just tell me the truth." Her eyes flickered with guilt, but also something else, fear, maybe. "We didn't want to hurt you." I laughed bitterly. "By excluding me? By pretending I don't exist?" Before she could answer, Layla walked in. Her eyes widened when she saw us together. "Aisha," Layla whispered, voice trembling. I turned to her. "Are you going to tell me the truth?" She looked down, then back at me. "There's something you don't know." My heart hammered. "What?" Layla hesitated, then said, "We felt you changed. You stopped trusting us. You pushed us away." I shook my head, tears blurring my vision. "I was just scared. Scared of losing you." Sami joined us then, his face pale. "We never wanted to hurt you, but there's more." My breath caught. Zara glanced at Sami. "Ayan, he's been part of this, but not in the way you think." "What do you mean?" I asked, voice barely a whisper. Layla took a deep breath. "He was trying to help us, to protect the group. There were things happening, things you didn't see." My mind reeled. "Like what?" I demanded. Sami's eyes locked with mine. "Like betrayal, but not from us, from someone else." My heart sank. "Who?" Layla's voice broke. "From Ayan." Shock crashed over me like a wave. "How?" I stammered. "He was hiding things, lying to all of us," Zara said quietly. "We found out he was manipulating us, causing rifts." I couldn't believe it. "Ayan? The person I trusted most?" My hands shook. Tears spilled down my cheeks. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because we were afraid you'd never believe us," Layla said. I looked at them all, confusion and pain swirling inside me. "Why didn't you come to me?" I asked. "Why keep secrets?" Sami's voice was soft. "Because we thought we were protecting you." Suddenly, everything made sense. The distance, the whispers, the exclusion. It wasn't just betrayal. It was protection gone wrong. I looked at them, my friends, my family, and realized that sometimes love isn't perfect. Sometimes it's messy, painful, and complicated, but it's real. As I sat there, tears streaming, I knew this was a turning point, a moment where everything changed. For better or worse, nothing would ever be the same. The days after that confrontation were a blur, hours spent staring out the window, heart heavy with everything I'd learned. The truth had cut deep, but somehow it also freed me. Zara, Layla, and Sammy reached out to me slowly, awkwardly, like we were all trying to find a way back from a place none of us wanted to go. We really talked for the first time in months. I listened to their fears and failures, and they listened to my pain. There were tears, apologies, and promises to rebuild what had been broken. But rebuilding trust isn't easy. It's fragile, like glass one wrong move, and it shatters. Some nights, I still wondered if I was making a mistake, if forgiveness was something I was ready for. Could I let go of the hurt and move forward? I realized that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting the scars and choosing to live with them. As for Ion, he disappeared from all our lives as suddenly as he'd appeared, his betrayal a dark shadow none of us wanted to face again. In the end, I understood that friendships, like all relationships, aren't perfect. They have cracks, secrets, and sometimes heartbreak. But they also have moments of incredible strength, moments where we choose to stay, to fight, and to love despite everything. I don't know what the future holds for us. Maybe we'll fall apart again. Maybe new secrets will surface. But for now, I'm choosing to hold on to the friendships that challenged me, hurt me, but ultimately taught me what loyalty really means. As I walked away from that cafe, the place where everything came crashing down, I felt something unexpected: hope. Because sometimes, the people we love the most are also the ones who hurt us deepest. But sometimes, they're the reason we find ourselves again. And just like that, everything I thought I knew about love and trust was forever changed. But maybe that's how it's supposed to be.